Today, a new leak claims Meghan's yacht link to Andrew sparked a Harry blow-up. Sources say her next move may freeze him cold.
Just when Meghan Markle was at the peak of her fame, building her empire in America and enjoying every spotlight moment, a sudden shockwave from London hit hard, threatening to wreck everything she had built. Out of nowhere, Sarah Ferguson broke her silence and dropped bombshell claims that set the media on fire. Her words were aimed straight at Meghan. Insiders spilled that Sarah's outburst wasn't about defending the royal image or seeking truth. It came from something much more personal. She reportedly believed that Meghan's rise years ago somehow stood in the way of fixing her rocky relationship with Prince Andrew. But Sarah didn't stop there. In a move that stunned everyone, she started spreading whispers she claimed to have heard among Europe's high society elite. Rumors about a secret connection between Meghan and Andrew. The heart of the scandal centers around an alleged link back in 2002 at NUS, where Sarah accused Meghan of showing up on Andrew's lavish yacht, supposedly playing the atmosphere creator role meant to keep the party alive. The tension exploded instantly, pulling both women back into a storm of royal drama. Sarah dropped another bomb. She claims to have a stash of shocking proof, from yacht videos to secret audio clips of Prince Andrew supposedly whispering Meghan's name in his sleep. What on earth is really going on behind this royal feud? What kind of pictures and recordings does Sarah actually have to back up her story? And what wild scenes has she threatened to unleash on the press if pushed too far? Then came a chilling image. Sarah Ferguson quietly switching off the television the second Meghan's glowing face filled the screen. She just couldn't take it anymore. While Meghan was being celebrated across America like a global icon, Sarah sat surrounded by old boxes in a small rented flat, her life stripped of luxury. Andrew had already been forced out of the royal lodge, and Sarah, without any legal standing or royal shield, had been left with nothing. But her anger ran deeper than poverty or embarrassment. It came from something far more personal. She pulled out an old photo from 2001, back when she and Andrew were on the brink of reuniting. The Queen had quietly approved, the public was softening, and the dream of becoming Duchess once again felt close enough to touch. If that remarriage had happened, Sarah's life today would have looked completely different, and she blamed Meghan for snatching that chance away. Sarah once imagined herself as the official wife of a prince, protected by the royal family no matter how messy her husband's scandals became. But everything fell apart after that fateful summer trip to Nice. In 2002, Andrew jetted off alone, promising nothing was wrong, yet when he returned, something had changed. He was distant, cold, and suddenly canceled all their reunion plans without explanation. She could feel it. Someone had come between them. And when whispers from Europe's old money circles finally reached her, she believed she'd found the answer. That name hit her like a thunderclap. Meghan Markle. The revelation burned through her like gasoline on a flame. Meghan wasn't just the self-confident in-law who stole headlines. Sarah was convinced she was the other woman who wrecked her second chance at royal life. If Meghan hadn't been on that yacht 2 decades ago, Sarah believed she'd still be Duchess of York, living comfortably in the royal lodge instead of boxed in by bills and shame. The thought drove her wild. She needed attention to stay afloat and revenge to feel alive. So she made a move that could shake the royal world. Sarah grabbed her phone and called Mike, a ruthless tabloid insider known for digging up dirt no one else could touch. No small talk, no hesitation. Her voice was sharp and certain. "I've got an exclusive on Meghan Markle. Forget Harry. Dig into the summer of 2002 in Nice. The yacht, Blue Infinity. The game for redemption and ruin had just begun." She wasn't a guest, she hissed into the phone. She was staff, hired to serve Andrew. And I know it because she's the reason he called off our remarriage. The line went dead silent for a heart, then erupted with the frantic clatter of typing. Sarah leaned back, a sly grin curling on her face. She knew exactly what she'd just done. She had launched a royal-sized bomb ready to explode. She didn't want money, she wanted to see Meghan completely exposed before the entire world. The war had officially begun. Across the ocean, the calm California morning shattered in an instant. Meghan Markle's iPad buzzed violently against the glass table, lighting up with a blood-red headline that hit her like a knife to the chest. The screams screamed. Sarah Ferguson alleges Meghan Markle was hired staff on Andrew's yacht in 2002. Meghan froze. The smoothie in her hand slipped and burst on the spotless white rug, the green liquid spreading like a stain that refused to disappear. Her carefully crafted piece, her perfect image, was unraveling right before her eyes. Her face drained of color, her hands trembling as panic took over. But this wasn't the rage of someone falsely accused. It was the raw terror of someone whose secrets might finally surface. She started pacing the wide living room, breath short and sharp, nails digging deep into her palms. For years, she had poured millions into scrubbing her past, erasing records, rewriting stories, building the flawless image of a student who fought her way to success. But now, with one headline, that illusion was crumbling, and there was nothing she could do to stop it. Meghan had always believed her wild days in the Mediterranean, the yacht parties, the glittering chaos, and the risky nights were buried deep, lost forever beneath the waves. But Sarah Ferguson, that broke and vengeful woman, had dared to dig it all back up like a treasure of shame. The sliding glass door clicked open. Harry stepped in from the garden, a printed newspaper crumpled in his grip, his face twisted between disbelief and fury. Without missing a beat, Meghan switched on her act, like flipping a light. She didn't yell, didn't defend herself. She dropped onto the sofa, shoulders trembling, a picture of fragile despair. Perfectly timed tears slid down her cheeks, painting the scene of a woman crushed by a cruel world. Harry's heart broke at the sight. He rushed to her side, kneeling to hold her close, his anger boiling over. Seeing Meghan so destroyed lit a fire in him. His jaw clenched and his hand tightened around his phone, thumb hovering over the call button. He was ready to unleash the lawyers, ready to sue Sarah for every penny and demand a public apology. But just as he was about to call, Meghan's hand shot out, gripping his wrist. Her nails dug into his skin, her whole body tense. Inside her mind, alarms were blaring loud enough to drown out reason. She knew what a lawsuit meant. It would open every locked door from her past. The court would demand old passports, flight logs, employment records, even the names of former yacht staff. Witnesses would come forward, the truth laid bare for everyone to see. One wrong move and her carefully built empire could crumble in an instant. The global media exploded overnight. The keyword Nice 2002 shot straight to the top of every trending list, and Meghan Markle's world in Montecito spun out of control. Furious, she ordered her PR team to crush the rumors fast, calling it all the invention of a bitter woman. Cameras soon caught her looking worn out, eyes red, face pale, playing the perfect victim of a vicious smear campaign. But while Meghan tried to quiet the noise, Sarah Ferguson kept feeding the flames, dropping new details piece by piece like drops of poison. She painted vivid scenes from that summer in Nice. Andrew partying for days aboard a luxury yacht surrounded by Europe's elite, and Meghan allegedly there in the role of an atmosphere creator, hired to keep the crowd entertained. Meghan's whole body tensed at those words. She shook her head, eyes wide with panic, desperately pleading for Harry to believe her. She didn't fight back with logic, she fought back with tears, using fragility as her weapon. In a trembling voice, she muttered that Sarah was just desperate for cash, trying to cause chaos for attention. She begged Harry not to take the bait, framing her fear as calm wisdom. Her trembling hands, her soft voice, her tears, it all worked. Harry looked torn, confused by this new version of his wife. She had never backed down from a fight before, yet here she was begging for quiet. Seeing her so broken, Harry's fury melted into sympathy. He placed his phone down, convinced silence was strength, that Meghan just wanted peace for their family. But that silence turned deadly in London. Sarah Ferguson read it as pure weakness, a sign her rival was terrified to fight back, and she was ready to strike even harder. Sarah smirked to herself. That silence was as good as a confession. She knew she'd struck right where it hurt most. But she wasn't done. That evening, she decided to raise the stakes, forcing Meghan into a corner with no way out. Using a hidden social media account, Sarah dropped a chilling new detail that sent shockwaves through the internet. She claimed that Andrew once bragged about an American girl he'd met on the yacht, someone with a small butterfly tattoo on her lower back. He'd even joked about calling it the Mark of the Wild. Sarah added one last jab that hit like a knife. I wonder if the Duchess of Sussex ever had it removed. That one line was all it took. The comment section went insane, triggering an army of online detectives determined to uncover the truth. Within hours, an old 2003 Malibu beach photo of Meghan resurfaced, shared and zoomed in thousands of times. And there it was, faint but visible, a small raised scar on her lower back, the kind left by incomplete tattoo removal. When Meghan saw the viral photo, her face went ghost white. She staggered backward, hitting the edge of the table, her breath catching in her throat. This wasn't a random guess. Sarah knew every inch of her. The first mask had been ripped off, revealing just enough truth to make denial look like guilt. The pressure was crushing, but Meghan's instincts kicked in fast. Her silent strategy had backfired, so she moved into phase 2, a quiet, careful counterattack designed to twist the narrative and reclaim control before the world dug any deeper. Meghan knew better than to appear publicly and argue. It would drag her down from her carefully polished image as a duchess. Instead, she pulled the strings of her powerful US media network, the one she'd spent years quietly building. Within just 24 hours, a wave of glossy, anonymous insider stories began flooding top American magazines and websites, all perfectly timed and perfectly worded. Each headline was a dagger aimed straight at Sarah Ferguson's credibility. The desperation of the Duchess of York, when poverty turns to paranoia, Sarah Ferguson's history of selling out family for cash, and the ultimate twist, why Meghan Markle chooses to forgive her pitiful aunt-in-law. The tone was flawless, graceful, forgiving, and saintly. Meghan crafted an image so pure it almost glowed. Through her representative, she released a statement dripping with gentle condescension. The Duchess feels deep compassion for Sarah's current hardships and chooses to respond not with anger, but with empathy toward a woman clearly facing financial and emotional struggles. At her Montecito mansion, Meghan sat before her computer scrolling through the headlines as they took over social media. A sly smirk crept across her face. This was her game, and she was winning it. She had flipped the script, turning the aggressor into an object of pity. She believed the world would see Sarah as nothing more than a bitter, washed-up woman, jealous of her success and desperate for relevance. For a moment, it looked like Meghan had the upper hand, controlling the narrative with surgical precision. But in a small, cluttered London apartment, Sarah Ferguson saw straight through that act of holy forgiveness. Behind Meghan's halo, Sarah smelled strategy, and she was already planning her next strike. Sarah read every headline that mocked her: paranoid, peddler of fake news, bitter duchess. But instead of breaking down, something inside her hardened. The insults didn't crush her, they sharpened her. She understood now that attacking Meghan's image wasn't enough. If she wanted to truly shake her, she had to strike where no PR team could protect her. Something personal, something dark, something that couldn't be spun into victimhood. That's when Sarah made her move, a strike so calculated it sent shivers through London's elite. She didn't go on camera, she didn't give another interview. Instead, she sent out an audio recording, anonymous but unmistakably deliberate. The clip spread like wildfire, crashing through social media within hours. In the recording, Sarah's voice was low, haunting, almost trembling with emotion as she recalled her nights at the Royal Lodge in 2003, back when she still hoped to rebuild her life with Andrew. She described the loneliness of those cold winter evenings, the heavy air of a royal bedroom filled with silence and regret. Andrew, often deep in his cups, would fall asleep in the armchair, leaving Sarah to quietly watch over him out of lingering affection. And then came the moment that froze every listener in place. In that stillness, Sarah claimed, Andrew began to talk in his sleep. It wasn't drunken rambling or nonsense. It was a name spoken with warmth, not anger, with longing, not guilt. Meghan. Her voice in the recording cracked slightly as she emphasized how clearly she remembered it. The tone, the softness, the quiet hunger behind the syllables. Sarah insisted this wasn't the way a man calls out to a friend or a family member. It was something far more intimate, a whisper born of memory, not fantasy. That single recording detonated across the world like a scandalous bomb, and Meghan's carefully built walls of control began to tremble. Back then, Sarah had convinced herself it was just a coincidence, just a random name mumbled in a drunken dream. But now, piecing together every memory, every whisper, every clue, she saw it for what it was. The name Meg had lived rent-free in Andrew's mind ever since that fateful summer in Nice, 2002. And this revelation carried more explosive power than any financial leak or love affair rumor. It hinted at something deeper, far more disturbing. It painted the connection between the uncle-in-law and the niece-in-law as something twisted, psychological, an unspoken obsession that made listeners shiver with discomfort. That subtle but chilling detail flipped the story upside down. What once looked like a friendly family link now felt tainted, blurred, illicit. And across the ocean in Montecito, the fallout hit Harry the hardest. He sat alone in his dimly lit office, surrounded by silence, the soft glow of his tablet casting long shadows. The leaked recording played again and again through his headphones. Every word, every pause, every breath in Sarah's haunting narration painted the scene so clearly that Harry could almost see it. His scandal-stained uncle muttering his wife's name with longing while lost in a dream. Harry's stomach twisted. His mind flashed back to the times Meghan had spoken about Andrew. The dinners, the smiles, the way she'd never looked uncomfortable around him, no matter how dark his reputation became. She had even once told Harry, Andrew's actually the most interesting one in your family. Back then, he took it as harmless curiosity. Now that same line echoed through his skull like a confession he'd missed in plain sight. The image of the graceful, forgiving wife, the woman who had just been praised by the press for her compassion, was crumbling before his eyes. In its place rose a darker picture, a woman who had once been the focus of his uncle's desire, maybe even his secret. Jealousy, doubt, and disgust began to claw at Harry's thoughts, carving deep cracks through his trust. And in that cold California night, the foundation of their perfect royal love story began to quietly fracture beyond repair. Sarah Ferguson's story about Andrew's disturbing dream spread like poison, and for Harry, it was pure acid seeping into his thoughts, burning through every trace of peace he had left. No matter how hard he tried to ignore it, that image wouldn't leave him. Every time Meghan smiled, every time she reached out to touch him, he couldn't stop seeing his uncle's face, hearing that drunken voice whispering her name. It made his skin crawl, turning his once idyllic Montecito mansion into a place that felt suffocating and cold. The tension inside their home was unbearable. Harry started avoiding Meghan completely, locking himself away in his study, pretending to read, or taking long, silent walks along the beach after midnight, where the waves were his only company. He trapped himself in silence, too scared to explode, but too tormented to speak. Meghan noticed it instantly. She tried everything: soft words, gentle touches, her usual "it's us against the world" whispers, but nothing worked this time. When she placed a hand on his shoulder, Harry flinched hard, pulling away like he touched fire. That one reflex said it all. He was repulsed, confused, torn apart by suspicion he couldn't shake. Deep down, he knew this couldn't continue. He needed answers, real ones, but he also knew he couldn't ask Meghan directly. If he did, she'd cry, turn the pain back on him, and accuse him of betrayal, just like she always did when cornered. So Harry decided to find the truth on his own. He needed someone who'd been there back in 2002, someone who'd actually seen what happened, but had kept quiet. And then it hit him. Steve, Andrew's former royal protection officer. Back in the early 2000s, Steve was like Andrew's shadow, traveling everywhere with him, including those infamous private yacht trips. But years later, the palace had tossed him aside, cutting off his pension and burying his name. Now, Harry realized Steve might be the only man alive who knew what really went down that summer, and the only one who had nothing left to lose. After the Epstein scandal shattered the royal circle, Steve had faded into obscurity, a bitter, forgotten man living quietly in the shadows. That was exactly why Harry turned to him. Late that night, when Meghan was fast asleep upstairs, Harry slipped into his study, his mind racing with dread. He opened his personal safe and pulled out an old satellite phone, his one line that left no trace, no records, no leaks. He scrolled through the numbers until he found it, the emergency contact he hadn't used in years. His hand trembled as he hit call. The ringing dragged on, echoing through the stillness of the Montecito night, until finally a rough, tired voice answered. Harry didn't waste a second. His tone was sharp, strained, the voice of a man drowning. He said, "Steve, I need you to tell me the truth. Was there an American girl on the yacht Blue Infinity in August 2002? You don't need to name her, just tell me what Andrew called her." The line went quiet. He almost heard the internal war, duty fighting with resentment, old NDAs against old wounds. For a moment, he thought Steve would hang up. Then came a sigh, deep and heavy, and with it, the truth that had been buried for 2 decades. "Yes," Steve said quietly. "There was a girl, an American, black hair, darker skin, confident, smart. She stayed for about 3 weeks." Harry's pulse quickened. "And Andrew, what did he call her?" he pressed. The pause that followed was long enough to stop Harry's breathing. Then Steve answered, voice low and disgusted. He didn't call her by name. He called her Black Pearl, said she was his lucky charm. For a second, the world around Harry stopped. The name hit him like a sledgehammer to the chest. He dropped the phone, staring blankly at the floor as his stomach turned to stone. The walls seemed to close in, the air thick and heavy. In that moment, everything, his trust, his love, his marriage, collapsed like a castle made of sand. Black Pearl. The words echoed in Harry's mind like a cruel joke. That was the exact same nickname he had once whispered to Meghan during their secret trip to Botswana, their so-called beginning under the stars, when love had felt raw and real. He could still see it clearly, Meghan tearing up, clutching his face and whispering, "No one's ever called me that before. It's the most beautiful name. It's our destiny." Now, that memory stabbed him straight through the heart. Destiny? It was a lie. That nickname wasn't born out of romance. It was a leftover from a shadowed past. She hadn't been touched by his words. She'd been recycling them. The name Black Pearl wasn't theirs. It was Andrew's, a twisted souvenir from her yacht days, dragged straight into their marriage bed. Harry felt sick. He realized Meghan hadn't seen him as a partner, but as a replacement, a cleaner, a fool to fix the chaos she'd left behind. That nickname wasn't a coincidence. It was proof that she knew Andrew long before she ever met Harry. Proof of a private bond strong enough to carry secret codes between them. He sank into his chair, hands gripping his head, heart pounding so loud it drowned out the world. The sense of betrayal was unbearable. It wasn't just heartbreak, it was humiliation. Everything, the compassion, the forgiveness, the fairy tale love story they had sold to the world, crumbled like dust. The woman he thought he knew had played him with the same lines she'd once used on his uncle. But Harry didn't move, didn't scream, not yet. He knew emotion wouldn't save him now. Meghan could twist anything with her tears, could make any accusation vanish behind a trembling voice and a headline about cruelty. If he wanted the truth to stand, he needed evidence, something she couldn't cry her way out of. So, with shaking hands, he did something he never thought he'd do. He opened his phone and typed out a message to Sarah Ferguson. 5 years since they'd spoken, and his text was short, stripped of any warmth. "You said you have proof. Give it to me." Harry's message flashed across Sarah's phone like a flare cutting through stormy darkness. It wasn't just a message, it was a lifeline. The words on the screen were cold and sharp. "You said you have proof. Give it to me." Sarah's heart pounded. She knew what that text meant. It was her last shot at redemption, her only chance to survive the war she had started. An insider had already warned her. Meghan's powerful US legal team had finished drafting the lawsuit papers. The clock was ticking. If Sarah didn't produce hard evidence within 24 hours to back up her claims, she'd be destroyed, financially, legally, completely. The Sussex legal machine was ready to bury her in court fees and damages so massive she could end up behind bars. But Sarah knew the truth wasn't gone. Andrew had always been his own worst enemy, a narcissist with a habit of collecting souvenirs from his escapades. He documented everything: flight stubs, hotel bills, old receipts, even personal notes. To him, those records weren't evidence, they were trophies, reminders of his former glory. The problem? All of Andrew's possessions had been cleared out of the Royal Lodge months ago on King Charles's orders. His once private world had been tossed like junk into a rented self-storage unit on the outskirts of London, one Sarah had secretly secured under a fake name to avoid royal eyes. At 10 that night, rain hammered down on the city. Sarah pulled up in her battered car, the wipers struggling against the storm. The warehouse lot was desolate, the kind of place where even the air felt haunted. The wind howled through the rusting metal roofs, making the whole scene feel like a warning. She parked by Unit 104, slipped out and heaved open the rolling steel door. The smell hit her instantly, a heavy mix of mold, damp paper, and rot. Her flashlight flickered through the dark, slicing across towers of dusty cardboard boxes stacked to the ceiling. Old uniforms, discarded royal trinkets, forgotten portraits, remnants of a fallen prince's life. Sarah's breath came fast. She grabbed a carton butter and tore into one carton after another, flinging aside anything that wasn't what she needed. Time was bleeding away, and every second felt like judgment closing in. Paintings, medals, ceremonial sashes, all useless. She wasn't hunting for gold or jewels. She was after one thing: a moss green iron ammunition box. That box had always terrified her. Back in their days at the Royal Lodge, Andrew had kept it locked tight, never allowing anyone near it, not even her. He called it his private archive. Sarah used to joke that it was his Pandora's box. And now, years later, standing there in the flickering light, she realized it might hold the one thing that could either save her or destroy everyone else. During the chaotic move from the Royal Lodge, Sarah made one desperate decision. She'd secretly tucked the moss green iron box into a random crate of old junk. Something deep inside her had whispered that one day, this box might be her only salvation. And now, drenched in rain and sweat, standing alone in that damp storage unit, she was praying that instinct had been right. Hours passed like lifetimes, sweat and rain mingled, dripping down her face. Her hands were raw, nails cracked, fingertips bleeding from slicing through boxes. The air was thick with the smell of mold and regret. Despair crept closer with every minute. If she didn't find that box, she wouldn't just lose a fight, she'd become the most humiliated woman in royal history. By 2 a.m., Sarah's body finally gave out. She slumped onto the freezing concrete, her breath shallow, flashlight shaking in her hand. As the beam wavered across the room, it caught something, a faint glint beneath a rusted metal shelf in the far corner. Her heart skipped. Crawling forward, she brushed away layers of old newspapers and dust until her trembling hands met cold steel. There it was, Andrew's old military ammo box, his secret vault. Her heart thudded so hard it felt like her ribs would crack. She dragged the box into the open. It was heavier than she remembered, cold as stone. A 3-ring mechanical lock guarded its secrets, the kind Andrew used back when he trusted no one. Sarah wiped her face, inhaled sharply, and tried to think like him. What code would he use? The Queen's birthday? No click. Their wedding anniversary? Still locked. Then a thought sliced through the fog. Nice 2002. That summer Andrew always called the peak of freedom. The yacht, Blue Infinity, had sailed on October 8th. Hands shaking, Sarah turned the dials. 108. Click. The sound echoed like a gunshot through the dead, rainy night. Sarah froze, breath caught in her throat. Slowly, she lifted the lid. No glitter, no jewels, just shadows of a past no one was meant to see. Inside lay a torn black leather notebook and 3 tiny cassette tapes, old Sony mini tapes from the 90s. Her flashlight beam trembled as it swept across the notebook's cover, where neat handwriting spelled out chillingly familiar words. Logbook, summer 2002, the good times. Sarah's pulse raced. She knew exactly what this was, the private ledger Andrew had always guarded, the one he never let anyone touch, his trophies, his truth. And now it was in her hands. Sarah's trembling fingers flipped through the old leather notebook, the pages smelling faintly of salt and age. Her flashlight beam danced over the scrawled numbers. 50,000 euros for Chateau Margaux wine, 20,000 euros for Beluga caviar, evidence of pure royal excess. But then, halfway through, she froze. A date caught her eye. August 14th, 2002. Her breath quickened. She leaned in closer, the beam narrowing on the faded ink. Line by line, Andrew's neat handwriting appeared. Precise, methodical, impossible to debut. External staff costs. Sophie, France, 3,000 euros. Yelena, Russia, 3,000 euros. Meghan M, USA, ref by Mac, 10,000 euros. Note, bonus, 2,000 euros cash. Reason, excellent service attitude. Codename, Black Pearl. Sarah's hand shot to her mouth as her body shook with shock and triumph. There it was, Meghan M, her name, her country, her pay, her code. The figure was more than 3 times what the others received, and the note, excellent service attitude, left no room for doubt. It matched everything Steve had told Harry, word for word. She hadn't stumbled back, gasping. This wasn't rumor anymore. It was written proof, hard evidence that Meghan hadn't been a guest, but paid staff, a hired presence, a performer on Andrew's yacht. Her pulse thundered. With this, she could bury Meghan's saintly image once and for all. But something else glinted in the box. The cassette tapes. 3 of them, labeled in Andrew's hand. One stood out, its white labels smeared by time but still legible. Black Pearl. Sarah's heart pounded so loudly she could hear it echo through the storage unit. She reached for the old Walkman lying beneath a pile of papers, the same one Andrew used to replay his so-called memories during his lonely later years. The battery compartment was corroded, but it worked. Her fingers hesitated for just a moment before sliding the Black Pearl tape inside. Click. Static. A hiss, then faint sounds. The soft hum of jazz, the rhythm of waves tapping against the yacht's hull. Then a familiar male voice, half slurred from drink, filled the headphones. Andrew's unmistakable tone, laced with arrogance and indulgence. Come now, my Black Pearl. Show everyone your real talent. You're worth every penny I spent. Sarah's blood ran cold. Her fingers dug into the edge of the metal box. And then another voice answered, light, teasing, perfectly confident. A woman's voice with that polished California accent the world knew all too well. It was her. That same voice that had spoken on royal interviews, podcasts, and charity campaigns now echoed through that tiny player, laughing softly in response to Andrew's drunken call. Sarah's whole body trembled. She yanked off the headphones, gasping for air. There it was, the voice that could turn the entire royal narrative upside down. The proof no PR team could bury. For years, Meghan had controlled the story, but now, in Sarah's shaking hands, the real one had finally surfaced, and it was devastating. "As long as you're happy, Andy, I'll do whatever you want, but you have to remember your promise to introduce me to the directors in London, okay? I'm doing this for my future." The voice was unmistakable, smooth, confident, transactional. Sarah's fingers froze over the stop button. The moment the tape clicked off, silence swallowed the warehouse. She slipped off the headphones slowly, her chest rising and falling as the meaning of what she'd just heard sank in. Then her lips curved into a cold, triumphant smile. This wasn't just gossip or revenge. It was a nuclear weapon, a single message that could blow open the royal facade and destroy everything Meghan had built. Without hesitation, Sarah grabbed her phone. Her movements were methodical, almost ritualistic. She angled the flashlight perfectly and photographed the damning page in Andrew's neat handwriting. Meghan M. USA equals 10,000 euros, codename Black Pearl. The ink gleamed under the lens, clear and undeniable. Next, she powered on the Walkman again, switched the playback to speaker, and brought her phone close. The old tape hissed. Then the sounds returned. The music, Andrew's voice, Meghan's unmistakable accent saying, "I'm doing this for my future." She hit record, capturing every second. When the tape clicked off again, she didn't waste another breath. She opened her email app, fingers steady despite the adrenaline roaring through her veins. In the to line, she typed the address she had memorized years ago, Harry's private, untraceable account. She attached the two files, the photo of the diary page and the audio recording. Her thumb hovered for only a heartbeat before pressing send. The phone vibrated once. Message delivered. In the faint glow of her flashlight, surrounded by stacks of rotting cardboard and royal ghosts, Sarah Ferguson exhaled. No reporters, no tabloids, no spectacle. This was a quiet, devastating execution. A single email that would shatter Harry's world and expose the truth she'd been waiting 20 years to unleash. Subject: from Unit 104. Sarah pressed send. No message, no explanation, just the evidence. The evidence spoke louder than any words ever could. Thousands of miles away in the dazzling California sunlight, the dining room of the Sussex mansion gleamed with quiet perfection. Yet beneath the golden glow, the air was ice cold, thick with tension, unspoken dread hanging between two people who once called it love. At the head of the table, Meghan Markle sat upright, her every move mechanical. She poured coffee, adjusted her napkin, and forced a delicate smile that didn't reach her eyes. Across from her sat Harry, still as a statue. His shoulders were tense, his jaw locked tight, his once bright eyes now rimmed with sleepless darkness. Between them, on the glass table, Harry's phone began to vibrate. The soft hum sliced through the silence. Meghan's gaze flicked to it instinctively, but it was Harry who reached for it. The sender's name appeared on the glowing screen. Sarah Ferguson. Harry's pupils shrank, his hand clenched into a fist, veins bulging beneath his skin. Slowly, mechanically, he opened the email. Meghan's stomach twisted as she watched his face drain of color, turning from gray to deathly white. For a long, endless second, he just stared at the screen, as if he were staring straight into a grave. Then, without a word, he turned the phone toward her. Meghan's eyes locked on the image, Andrew's unmistakable handwriting captured in sharp detail. Meghan M. USA equals 10,000 euros, codename Black Pearl. The ink gleamed under the lens, clear and undeniable. Next, she powered on the Walkman again, switched the playback to speaker, and brought her phone close. The old tape hissed. Then the sounds returned. The music, Andrew's voice, Meghan's unmistakable accent saying, "I'm doing this for my future." She hit record, capturing every second. When the tape clicked off again, she didn't waste another breath. She opened her email app, fingers steady despite the adrenaline roaring through her veins. In the to line, she typed the address she had memorized years ago, Harry's private, untraceable account. She attached the two files, the photo of the diary page and the audio recording. Her thumb hovered for only a heartbeat before pressing send. The phone vibrated once. Message delivered. In the faint glow of her flashlight, surrounded by stacks of rotting cardboard and royal ghosts, Sarah Ferguson exhaled. No reporters, no tabloids, no spectacle. This was a quiet, devastating execution. A single email that would shatter Harry's world and expose the truth she'd been waiting 20 years to unleash. Subject: from Unit 104. Sarah pressed send. No message, no explanation, just the evidence. The evidence spoke louder than any words ever could. Thousands of miles away in the dazzling California sunlight, the dining room of the Sussex mansion gleamed with quiet perfection. Yet beneath the golden glow, the air was ice cold, thick with tension, unspoken dread hanging between two people who once called it love. At the head of the table, Meghan Markle sat upright, her every move mechanical. She poured coffee, adjusted her napkin, and forced a delicate smile that didn't reach her eyes. Across from her sat Harry, still as a statue. His shoulders were tense, his jaw locked tight, his once bright eyes now rimmed with sleepless darkness. Between them, on the glass table, Harry's phone began to vibrate. The soft hum sliced through the silence. Meghan's gaze flicked to it instinctively, but it was Harry who reached for it. The sender's name appeared on the glowing screen: Sarah Ferguson. Harry's pupils shrank, his hand clenched into a fist, veins bulging beneath his skin. Slowly, mechanically, he opened the email. Meghan's stomach twisted as she watched his face drain of color, turning from gray to deathly white. For a long, endless second, he just stared at the screen, as if he were staring straight into a grave. Then, without a word, he turned the phone toward her. Meghan's eyes locked on the image, Andrew's unmistakable handwriting captured in sharp detail. Meghan M. USA equals 10,000 euros, codename Black Pearl. The ink gleamed under the lens, clear and undeniable. Next, she powered on the Walkman again, switched the playback to speaker, and brought her phone close. The old tape hissed, then the sounds returned. The music, Andrew's voice, Meghan's unmistakable accent saying, "I'm doing this for my future." She hit record, capturing every second. When the tape clicked off again, she didn't waste another breath. She opened her email app, fingers steady despite the adrenaline roaring through her veins. In the to line, she typed the address she had memorized years ago, Harry's private, untraceable account. She attached the two files, the photo of the diary page and the audio recording. Her thumb hovered for only a heartbeat before pressing send. The phone vibrated once. Message delivered. In the faint glow of her flashlight, surrounded by stacks of rotting cardboard and royal ghosts, Sarah Ferguson exhaled. No reporters, no tabloids, no spectacle. This was a quiet, devastating execution. A single email that would shatter Harry's world and expose the truth she'd been waiting 20 years to unleash. Subject: from Unit 104. Sarah pressed send. No message, no explanation, just the attachments. The evidence spoke louder than any words ever could. Thousands of miles away, in the dazzling California sunlight, the dining room of the Sussex mansion gleamed with quiet perfection. Yet beneath the golden glow, the air was ice cold, thick with tension, unspoken dread hanging between two people who had once called it love. At the head of the table, Meghan Markle sat upright, her every move mechanical. She poured coffee, adjusted her napkin, and forced a delicate smile that didn't reach her eyes. Across from her sat Harry, still as a statue. His shoulders were tense, his jaw locked tight. his once bright eyes now rimmed with sleepless darkness. Between them, on the glass table, Harry's phone began to vibrate. The soft hum sliced through the silence. Meghan's gaze flicked to it instinctively, but it was Harry who reached for it. The sender's name appeared on the glowing screen: Sarah Ferguson. Harry's pupils shrank. His hand clenched into a fist, veins bulging beneath his skin. Slowly, mechanically, he opened the email. Meghan's stomach twisted as she watched his face drain of color, turning from gray to deathly white. For a long, endless second, he just stared at the screen, as if he were staring straight into a grave. Then, without a word, Harry turned the phone toward her. Meghan's eyes locked on the image. Andrew's unmistakable handwriting, captured in sharp detail. Meghan M., USA, 10,000 euros, codename Black Pearl. Her breath hitched. The fork slipped from her trembling hand, hitting the porcelain plate with a sharp clang that sliced through the air. The sound rang like a verdict. But Harry wasn't done. With a trembling thumb, he pressed play on the attached audio file. The cheerful luxury of the Montecito mansion was instantly shattered by the scratchy static of an old tape. Then came the faint hum of waves, the lazy rhythm of jazz, and finally, that unmistakable voice, Andrew's, soaked in alcohol and arrogance. "Come now, Black Pearl, you're worth every penny I spent." The words echoed through the bright room like a curse. Meghan's breath stopped in her throat. Her fingers gripped the edge of the table so hard her nails scratched the polished wood. The color drained from her face as she stared at the phone, frozen in place. The truth was out. No explanations, no excuses, just that voice, that nickname, and a silence heavy enough to break a kingdom. A woman's voice, her own voice, from 2 decades ago. It was unmistakable. Younger, lighter, but undeniably hers. "As long as you're happy, Andy, I'll do whatever you want. Remember your promise to introduce me to the directors in London." The tape clicked to an end. The silence that followed was suffocating, so heavy it felt like the walls themselves were listening. Meghan shot to her feet, her chair clattering backward with a deafening crash. Panic twisted her face, her breathing ragged. In one desperate move, she lunged toward Harry, her hand reaching for the phone like her life depended on it. But Harry moved faster. He stepped back, his grip tightening around the device. His eyes, once warm, once filled with adoration, now were cold, hollow, and unrecognizing. He looked at her not as his wife, but a stranger who had worn a mask too long. For a heartbeat, neither of them spoke. The silence screamed louder than words. Then Meghan broke, her voice cracking into hysteria. "Fake! It's fake!" she shouted, flailing her arms. "AI! She used AI! It's not real!" Her words tumbled over themselves, desperate and wild. But Harry didn't react. He didn't yell back. He didn't even blink. He simply stared at her, then slowly turned the phone toward her, where Andrew's neat handwriting glowed under the sunlight. The same handwriting matching every royal archive, every letter Harry had ever seen. He shook his head once, slowly, deliberately, a small movement filled with disgust and finality. Then he stepped closer, leaned down so his voice brushed her ear, and whispered 2 quiet words that shattered the room. "Black Pearl." Meghan froze. The strength left her body all at once. Her knees buckled and she collapsed onto the cold marble floor at his feet. The name, the nickname she'd once convinced him was a symbol of love, now hung in the air like a curse. Tears streamed down her face as she clutched at his legs, her voice breaking into sobs. Her lips trembled, eyes wide and desperate, searching for mercy that wasn't there. That single phrase, Black Pearl, had turned from an intimate secret into the final, damning proof of betrayal. The mask was gone, the lies had drowned, and in the bright, merciless light of morning, the woman once adored by millions knelt before the man she'd deceived, pleading like a prisoner awaiting her sentence. She looked like an inmate begging for a pardon, eyes wide, mouth trembling, breath catching in short, broken gasps. Words failed her. All that came out were choked sobs and the frantic shaking of her head, as if denial could erase the truth. Harry stood over her, unmoving. But the man who looked down at Meghan wasn't the husband who once adored her. He was someone hollowed out by betrayal. In her tear-streaked face, he didn't see love or pain anymore. He saw a stranger, a woman who had once sold herself for 10,000 euros and later used Harry as a stepping stone to rewrite her past. Without hesitation, he pried her hands off his legs. His touch was firm, unflinching, like brushing away dirt. Meghan's fingers clawed at the floor, leaving faint scratches on the polished marble as Harry turned his back. Not a word, not a glance, just the sound of footsteps echoing against the silence. She cried out, a raw, haunting sound that tore through the room, crawling across the walls. Her body lurched forward as she tried to follow him, but the heavy oak door slammed shut, cutting her off, sealing her behind it like a tomb. Out in the hallway, 2 suitcases waited, packed nightly the night before. Harry lifted them without pause, his face expressionless. The soft rattle of suitcase wheels against the marble floor echoed through the mansion. It wasn't just the sound of leaving, it was the sound of an empire collapsing, one small roll at a time. He reached the front door and opened it. The California sunlight flooded in, blindingly bright but icy to the touch. He stepped through it, letting the door swing shut behind him. The click of it closing sounded like the end of everything. Inside, Meghan remained on the cold floor, surrounded by silence. The grand house that once symbolized triumph now felt like a mausoleum, filled with the ghost of a secret finally dragged into the light. Thousands of miles away, under England's gray skies, the VIP lounge doors at Heathrow burst open. Flashbulbs exploded like lightning, slicing through the damp night air. Cameras screamed, reporters shouted, but through the chaos, only one figure emerged: Prince Harry, alone. No Meghan clutching his hand, no towering American bodyguards, no polished entourage, just him, a man stripped of everything but truth. His gray coat hung loosely, his beard untrimmed, eyes hollowed and bloodshot. He walked with his head bowed, ignoring the crowd, the noise, the endless questions. His left hand hung by his side, bare. The Welsh gold wedding ring that once gleamed there was gone. And as he moved through the flashes and shouting, his thumb brushed that empty space, over and over, like a man trying to rub out a scar that would never heal. Harry didn't wait for the Royal Range Rovers lined up outside, their tinted windows hiding the curious eyes of staff and reporters. Instead, he walked straight past them and raised his hand toward the street. A traditional black cab screeched to a halt, the driver blinking twice when he recognized the passenger climbing in. "Where to, sir?" the driver asked softly. Harry didn't answer. He just nodded toward the city lights and leaned his head against the cold glass. London passed by in fragments, wet cobblestones, dim street lamps, and the ghosts of his own past reflected in every window. The hum of the engine was the only sound. He looked like a man who'd lost a kingdom and finally stopped pretending to care. By morning, that single image of Harry sitting alone in the back of a cab had circled the globe. No press statement, no official confirmation, just that picture. And it said everything. The end of a royal love story, the silent announcement of divorce. Across the ocean, the Montecito mansion stood dark, its vast rooms echoing with emptiness. The $14 million palace that once hosted celebrities and cameras was now a tomb. Meghan sat on the living room floor, her back against the sofa, surrounded by half-drained wine bottles. Her makeup was smudged, her hair undone, her mind spiraling. Her phone, a device she once treated like a lifeline, now felt like a curse. It kept lighting up in her shaking hands, each new notification another blow. Netflix, notice of indefinite project suspension. WME management, termination of representation, irreconcilable conflicts of interest. Dior, rescinded invitation to Paris Fashion Week. Each email stripped away another layer of her power, her image, her illusion of control. Desperate, Meghan scrolled through her contacts. Oprah Winfrey. Call. The line rang endlessly before dropping to voicemail. Tyler Perry. Voicemail. Serena Williams. Subscriber unavailable. Every number that once guaranteed support now led to silence. The powerful friends who once called her a voice of modern womanhood were gone, evaporated overnight like fog in the sun. The rumors had already infected every corner of high society. Whispers of Andrew's logbook, of the Black Pearl tapes, of her name scribbled next to a cash payment. Each story spread faster than she could deny it. No one wanted to be seen defending her now. That label, Yacht Girl, had resurfaced and branded itself to her name like a scar she could never erase. Every trace of glamour, every headline about compassion or royalty turned to ash. Her breath hitched. Rage boiled inside her, mixed with despair. She grabbed her phone and hurled it against the marble wall. It shattered into pieces, clattering across the floor like broken glass dreams. A raw, guttural scream tore from her chest, echoing through the grand, empty mansion. For the first time, Meghan Markle, once the symbol of ambition, reinvention, and charm, faced the one thing she'd always feared most: total silence. She wasn't handcuffed, she wasn't dragged into a courtroom, no judge had spoken a word. Yet Meghan Markle had been handed the harshest sentence imaginable: social death. Her punishment came not in chains, but in silence. She was a prisoner inside her own palace, trapped in 14,000 square feet of marble, glass, and emptiness. Rich beyond measure, but despised by nearly everyone who once cheered her name. Slowly, she rose from the floor and wandered toward the towering mirror in the corner of the room. The woman staring back was unrecognizable, her hair tangled, her makeup smudged, her eyes hollow. She looked like someone who had lived 100 years overnight. With a trembling hand, she lifted her shirt slightly, staring at the faint scar low on her back. The butterfly, the mark she had tried to erase, glimmered faintly under the soft light. The past she'd buried had resurfaced to devour her whole. Thousands of miles away, in a modest London flat, Sarah Ferguson sat by the window as the rain finally eased into drizzle. A cup of Earl Grey steamed beside her, the faint scent of bergamot filling the small room. Her phone lay on the table, the screen glowing with the latest headline: Prince Harry returns to London alone. Sarah didn't laugh. She didn't toast her victory or gloat. She simply stared out at the fading rain, her expression calm, but her eyes sharp, gleaming with a quiet, dangerous satisfaction. She hadn't won millions. She was still broke, still living in a cramped apartment, still ignored by King Charles and the royal machine. But she had won something far greater: the return of power, the kind that couldn't be bought or gifted, the kind that came from fear. She had reminded the world, and the royals themselves, why you never back a she-wolf into a corner. Even an aging one, toothless and wounded, could still bite when pushed too far. Sarah had kept the ghosts of the past locked away for decades, and when the time came, she released them with precision, just enough to haunt, never enough to destroy herself. That was her talent. That was her vengeance. Her phone buzzed softly, vibrating against the wood. A new message appeared from an unknown number. She didn't need to guess. She knew who it was. Andrew, alone in his quiet exile, reaching out from the shadows. The message was brief, just 2 words: "Thank you, Sarah." She read it once, her lips curling faintly, not in joy, but in something colder: vindication. Then she set the phone down, took a slow sip of her tea, and whispered to the rain outside, "Never forget who I am." Sarah stared at the glowing message for a long moment. Then, without hesitation, she tapped delete. She hadn't done this for Andrew. No, that man was just another ghost in her story. She did it for herself, for survival, for vengeance, for the power to make the mighty tremble again. Standing slowly, Sarah walked across the small apartment to a faded portrait hanging crooked on the wall. Behind it was a hidden safe, its metal face dull and scarred with time. She turned the dial, listening to the soft clicks echo through the quiet room. When the door swung open, she placed her phone inside, the one holding the digital copy of Andrew's logbook and the incriminating recording. She closed it gently and spun the dial back into place. Click. The secret was sealed once again. But far away in California, Meghan Markle would never sleep soundly again. She would live each day haunted by the thought that somewhere in London, behind that iron door, the truth still waited, ready to rise and ruin her all over again. Sarah returned to her chair by the window, lifted her cup, and took another slow sip of tea. Outside, the rain had stopped, and faint light was breaking through the clouds. London was waking up. The Game of Thrones was over. The outsider had been erased, and the gatekeeper of royal sins still sat by her window, silent, dangerous, and untouchable. Now, only one question remained. With her honor gone and her allies vanished, would Meghan Markle quietly fade into the golden shadows of Montecito? Or was she already planning her final act, a tell-all memoir so explosive it could drag the monarchy down with her? What do you think? Tell us in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more scandalous royal exposés. And make sure to click the next video showing on your screen. You won't want to miss it.